That was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Well done. Let me see if I can get this a bit higher. My name's, if you don't know me, my name's Ian Taylor. I'm a member of the church family here at Emmanuel Westbury. It's very nice to see you in a slightly different venue than we're used to. Now, I'm going to show you 3 pictures, and I'm aware I'm kind of in front of the screen a bit here. In each of these pictures, there are people, okay? And as they come up, ask yourself, who are the people, and what is their mission? Now, mission's a long word. It means what do they do, okay? Can we have the first picture up? Okay. Grown-ups, you might need to help children. Children, you might need to help grown-ups. Just chat with your neighbor. Who are they? What have they come to do? Okay. Is this on? Here we go. We'll go up. Okay, we'll go to a grown-up here. Yes. Who is that?
That's Ash Ketchum.
What's he come to do?
To catch them all.
Yeah. Okay. So he wants to be the master Pokemon trainer.
I did have to clarify that. Okay, let's have the second picture. Who is it? Okay. Now, grown-ups, you need to help children. So have a little chat. Who are they? What do they come to do? Okay, hands up if you know. I'm gonna go up here. Oh, so we had yeah, okay. Let's come all the way up. Yeah, who is it?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and what do they come to do?
I didn't.
Catch the ghosts.
Yeah, bust those ghosts, okay?
Okay, that's their mission. That's what they came to do. Listen, we've got one more. One more, let's have it up. Richard. Who's that? Hand up there. Ethan Hunt, isn't it? Mission impossible. No mission is impossible for Ethan Hunt. Now, all these people have missions. They have something to do. Now, these people, they're just make-believe characters, aren't they? But in today's true story, Jesus tells us his mission. He tells us what he has come to do. And verse 10 on the screen is going to show you that, okay? The Son of Man, this is Jesus speaking, the Son of Man, that's Jesus talking about himself, has come to seek and save the lost. That's what he came to do. Jesus came to seek and save the lost. In fact, this isn't just a summary of Jesus' life. If someone were to ask you, what is the Bible all about? You could say the Bible is about a God who has come to look for people and rescue them. The God has come to seek and save the lost. Now, you might see some words up there like seek and save and lost, and you're not sure what they actually mean. What do they mean? Well, today's true story is going to show us. Okay? So here's our first point. It's a really simple one. Zacchaeus is lost. Zacchaeus is lost. Let's get verses 1 to 2 up on the screen. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and he was wealthy. Now, the one thing you need to know about Zacchaeus is he loves money. He loves money. And his job, which is the chief tax collector, means he has loads of it. Loads and loads of money. Now, why is that? Well, let's imagine you all lived in Jericho. You need to pay tax. And tax is money, and you need to pay it to the people in charge to keep you safe. Problem is, the people in charge are too busy to collect the money themselves, so Zacchaeus does it. And I want to show you how this works we're not going to use money, we're going to use some biscuits, okay? Instead, just to motivate some volunteers. I'm going to need 3 volunteers. We'll show how this works. But But can I have a grown-up volunteering as well? Yeah, Adam, you can come down because you know about Ash. Is there anyone who wasn't involved in the Henry, do you want to come? And is there someone up there? Percy, do you want to come? Okay. Right, Henry, you can be there. Adam, you can be here. And Percy, you can be over there. Now, Henry, you are Mr. Normal, okay? And this is all your hard-earned money. Okay? You've worked very hard, but this is the money you owe to the government. Okay? Now, the thing is, you can't give it straight to them. You need to give it to Zacchaeus, because he's the tax collector. So will you pass it to Zacchaeus? Right. Now, this is where things get a bit dodgy, because Zacchaeus should pass it straight on to the person in charge, Percy, okay? But what Zacchaeus does, which is naughty, is he takes some of the money and he eats it. You can get 2 biscuits, okay? And then he gives what's left over to the government. So Zacchaeus has taken what doesn't belong to him, what you've worked really hard for, and he stuffed it in his face. He is very, very dodgy. Okay? Right. Percy, you can take those back. Thank you very much, everyone. Well done. Share them out afterwards. Thank you, Henry. People hate Zacchaeus. They hate him for all the money he steals. They really do. He's crooked and unpopular. Here are some examples of crooked and unpopular people. Does anyone know? Does anyone know who that is? Hands up if you know who that is. Jesse, who's that? Paw Patrol. Does anyone know his name? Mayor Humdinger. He's horrible, Mayor Humdinger. Well done. There's another one, Richard. Crooked and unpopular. And then there's one more. You see, we do laugh, but there are all people we love to hate. The people of Jericho loved to hate Zacchaeus. He really was not very impressive. And you can see that down in verse 3. They hated him. Let's have a look at verse 3. Now, Zacchaeus, we've seen it acted out. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he couldn't see over the crowd. Zacchaeus learns that Jesus is coming down the street, and he's heard all about Jesus' miracles. And of course he wants to see him, a bit of entertainment. But there's a big problem, because the crowd is enormous, with some obscenely tall people in them. And Zacchaeus is stuck at the back. And because he's really short, he can't see anything. Well, boys and girls, thumbs up if you think the crowd is going to move out the way and let Zacchaeus get to the front. Or thumbs down if you think the crowd is not going to budge and they're just going to leave him at the back. Thumbs down. There's no way he's getting to the front. He can stay at the back, on the outside, where he deserves to be. Or shall we see what he does next? Verse 4, he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, that's Jesus, since Jesus was coming that way. Now, we don't have a sycamore fig tree, although we have got some of those. So, I've got a ladder, okay? So Zacchaeus climbs up, and it's all very safe. Now, here is Zacchaeus. He is the most unpopular man in town. He is getting rich while others are getting poor. He does not care what other people think about him. He doesn't even care what God thinks about him or the way he lives. He's hated. He is hated. And he is the sort of man that Jesus calls lost. Now, if you'd been in that crowd, you would have hated him. You would have thrown stones at him. You would have called him names. He was an absolute rotter. Okay? He was an absolute rotter. Okay, that's enough time up there in danger. So, what does Jesus do? Zacchaeus is lost, and here's our second point. Jesus seeks the lost. Verse 5. When Jesus reached the spot, sorry, this is in your way a little bit there. Move that out of the way a little bit. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down. So there's a huge crowd. You can imagine the commotion, the shouting, the jostling. There would have been hundreds of people. But then the background noise fades away. And it's just Jesus and Zacchaeus. And Jesus is looking up at Zacchaeus. And that's all that matters. Now, the thing is, when Jesus looks into your eyes, he doesn't just see what's on the outside. He sees what's on the inside. And this reminds me of another true story about Jesus. In John chapter 1, Jesus sees a stranger approaching called Nathanael. And Jesus calls out to Nathanael, saying, I can tell you are an honest man. And Nathanael says, how do you know we've never met? How do you know that about me? And Jesus says, these are his words. He says, I know because I saw you. And it's just the same in this story with Zacchaeus. When Jesus looks up into the tree, he isn't just looking at Zacchaeus on the outside. He sees what Zacchaeus is like on the inside. Not his bones and blood vessels and lungs. He sees his feelings and thoughts and failures and fears. He sees a man who loves to get rich while other people get poor. He sees a man who doesn't care what God thinks about him. He sees a man who is lost. And Jesus stops, looks up, and says, Zacchaeus, come down. Because that's Jesus' mission. He's come to seek the lost. He's come to seek the lost, and nothing is going to stop him. Now, hands up here if you're a fan of Quidditch. Anyone here Quidditch fans? We've got some Quidditch fans. I don't know about the rest of you. Well, okay. Think, we're not going to go into Quidditch. If you don't know what Quidditch is, you really need to do some reading. But think of Harry Potter zooming round on the Quidditch field, right? Seeking out the golden snitch. And nothing, no quaffles, no beaters are going to distract him from tracking down that golden snitch and getting it. That is the one thing he is on the field to do. And it's the same with Jesus. He is the seeker. And he's after the lost. He's after people like Zacchaeus. Maybe he's after people like us. So boys and girls, just imagine for me now, Jesus has come in through the door. He's standing here, and he's looking up at you. He's looking into your eyes. He's not looking at the color of your eyes. He's not interested in your nose or your hair. He's not interested about how happy you seem or what you like people to see about you. He is seeing what you're thinking and feeling. He is seeing all your secrets. He's seeing what you don't want others to see. He's seeing what you think about other people, what you think about God. He's seeing how on Monday behind closed doors I exploded with terrible rage. He's seeing it all. And he's after you. And he's after me. He's come. It's time to sing. After that, we're going to think. We'll find out, what does Jesus do when he finds the people he's looking for? Thanks very much. Have a seat. So, Jesus saw Zacchaeus sitting in the tree, and like the greatest seeker ever, he went after him, looked into his eyes, saw inside all the bad stuff and sad stuff, all the secrets. He saw it all, and then what? What did he do? Spit at him? Laugh at him? Ghost him? Verse 5. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. Jesus seeks out the lost, and then what does he do? Saves them. He seeks and he saves. That's his mission. Now, maybe you boys and girls, you hear grown-ups using the word save. Jesus saves, all this kind of saving stuff. And it's a very churchy word. What does it mean? Well, verse 5 tells us what it means, okay? Now, to work it out, I'm just going to ask this question. First, boys and girls, has anyone here recently had a birthday party? Put your hand up in the air if you've had a birthday party quite recently. Okay, let's go over here. And I'll come back to you in a little bit. Okay, Leah, do you want to just come out? Okay, so you had your birthday party. Who did you invite to your birthday party?
I invited Georgie and Izzy and Gracie and Beth. All of my friends, basically.
They're all your friends, were they? Okay, thank you, Leah. Brilliant. Who else has recently...
Sorry, I got confused between microphones. No, okay. Yes. Who did you invite?
I invited some of my friends from school, like Ruben, Seth S., some of my friends from school.
Seth S., yes. Okay, one more person who's recently had a birthday party. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Phil. Percy, tell us what the names of the people you invited.
Kate, Theo, Zachary, and Vinny.
Brilliant. Thank you, Percy.
You see, the people we invite
For our birthday... I've done it again. The people we invite for our birthday parties, the people we invite into our houses, are friends. When you invite someone into your house, it's a way of saying, we're friends. No one wanted to be friends with Zacchaeus. I mean, no one. They hated him. Remember when he was stuck at the back of the crowd wanting to see Jesus? No one said, hey, it's Zacchaeus, just budge up a little bit. He's quite short. If you budge up that way, he can get into the front. He's only short. No one did that. Everyone turned their back on him. They would not let Zacchaeus in. Only Jesus. Jesus said, Zacchaeus, I see you. I know everything you've done, and I want to stay with you. The crowds, they turned their back on Zacchaeus. Jesus says, friend, I'm coming to stay. So when Jesus saves lost people, it means he takes people who are messed up and he calls them friends. That's what it means to save someone. Now, boys and girls, are you listening? You all know the moment, okay? You're fighting with your brother or sister, and you hit them. And suddenly you realize you've really hurt them, okay? You were angry, but you didn't mean to hurt them as much as you did, and you do it, and then all of a sudden you realize it's bad. and you actually get quite upset yourself. You burst into tears as you see them crying. And that night you can't fall asleep because you feel so terrible. And you think to yourself, how could I have done that to them? Maybe you just think, I'm just so bad. I can't believe I hurt my brother like that. And you feel like the worst thing ever. Now, boys and girls and grown-ups, when you think that, you have to remember about Zacchaeus up the tree. He was the worst. He really was. He was a total rotter. And Jesus knew that. Jesus knew everything he'd done wrong. And what did he say to Zacchaeus? Come down, friend. I want to stay at your house. And if Jesus saves rotters like Zacchaeus, Jesus will save rotters like you and me. You can be sure of it. Because that's his mission. Like Ash and the Ghostbusters and Ethan Hawke, they all had missions to do. And Jesus' mission, why he came, was to seek and to save the lost. Like you, like me, and like Zacchaeus. I'm going to say a prayer. Father, you sent Jesus not for the people who think they're brilliant and don't need any help. You sent Jesus for the people who were full of bad and sad things. You sent Jesus for the lost. You sent Jesus for people like us. Thank you. Amen.
Got quite a few questions this week. We've got time to go through probably just 2 or 3, so maybe just some quick headlines and see how we get on. So first question, why didn't Jesus talk to the good people?
Well, I suppose it depends who you think the good people were. I mean, he spent a lot of time with the Pharisees. They were kind of religious teachers that most you and I would have looked at them and go, those are the good guys, because they kind of keep all the rules. So he did spend a lot of time with them. We heard about him spending time with like the rich young ruler a few weeks ago. He spent time with him, but often those conversations didn't go well because they didn't like what he had to say about the sorts of people that were part of his kingdom. And those were the sorts of people who didn't think they could walk into his kingdom because they were good. They were the sorts of people who thought they didn't belong. And actually Jesus said, no, I want the people who don't think they belong. They're the people I've come for, the people who know they need mercy and forgiveness.
Okay, I'm going to ask this next question next. How do I know Jesus is calling me because I can't see him?
What a good question. And you know it because of what it says in here. We can't see Jesus, but the New Testament is written by a lot of people who did see Jesus. And they say he's calling us. Let me give you an example. I come home and say, there are free sweets going at the shop down the road. Now, you could go, well, unless I've seen the person telling me there are free sweets going, I'm not going to listen to it. Or you could go, hang on, Ian saw the man who was telling us about free sweets, and now he's telling me I'm going to listen to Ian. Okay? So we can listen to people in the Bible who's saying, Jesus is calling you to follow him. We might not see Jesus ourselves, but we can hear from the people who did.